cool. So do you want to just continue? And I know we have quite a bit that we were trying to cover in an hour. So welcome to another Cost Center Manager SFO briefing. And this month, or well, our topic for the month is month-end processes with some particular focus on reporting and some key reports that you'll want to make sure to use as we close the month. As a reminder, just like all the other sessions, this is a one-way audio. Please use the chat feature or the Q&A feature to ask questions. If we don't get to all the questions, like there may be a lot, I'm sure there will be a lot of questions as we go through this. So if we don't get to all the questions, we will be keeping track of them, and then we will make sure that we get to those during office hours this week. And we have a slide at the end where we talk about those office hours. Okay. Next slide. So in terms of presenters, we will have we'll also have Lisa Plaga will be covering some slides on guidance, which I had you up here. Sorry, Lisa. We also will have Jen Keeney, Patrick Collins, and Christina Cardenas doing some reporting demos for us. So that will be our presenters for today. And if we go to the next slide, our agenda. So again, Lisa will be talking through reconciliation guidance for kind of our new processes that we'll be doing in our new world and Workday. And then we'll go into some different types of reporting that we'll look for. So we'll be talking about exception reporting, financial analysis, and reconciliation. And there's a really good slide at the end where we have a bunch of resources to help you to get a lot more detail on what we've kind of demo and talked through today. We are recording the session so that this can be shared and reviewed later on too. So without further ado, I think we will move into, again, purpose of today, reconciliation processes and reporting with focus on month end. So we will move on to Lisa Plaga. Yes, we can definitely send out the slides afterwards. Michelle, good question. For Lisa Plaga to talk through reconciliation guidance.
Hi, thanks, Holly. If we can move on to the next slide, please. So what I want to talk through today is the overall concept of month-end close. Keep in mind that what we're talking through, the focus is on month-end close. However, some of these things you can perform daily, weekly, at whatever point in time you want within the month, in order to maybe spread the workload out or get in front of a couple things. So first, conceptually, from an exception reporting perspective, what we're asking you to do there is really look at things that are missing. What that means is maybe journal entries that aren't approved, or maybe costing hasn't been applied to a salary, that type of thing. What that does not mean, and you can see in that first bullet, is that you no longer need to do a line-by-line transaction verification process or the payroll checklist concept. All of those activities that were previously covered by those actions are covered or taken care of in the day-to-day processes. So, you know, if you're looking for those type of things don't exist. So Workday and how we built the processes in Workday, it's built differently than PeopleSoft. So PeopleSoft was very much built to look at things at month end and make corrections. Workday is built such that you look at things and you should be processing things correctly through the processes we've built, not correcting them or identifying them on the back end. So it's really a different or a change in mentality as we walk through this new system. So like I said, monitoring those type of things in real time. Then from a financial analysis perspective, it's really looking at the fluctuations and really understanding what you were expecting to see and what you're actually seeing, and investigating the whys. Why is that different? Why wasn't that what I expected? This went up, this went down, that type of thing. And from a reconciliation perspective, the focus is on taking any subsystems you may have. You may have a separate billing system, a separate inventory system, and ensuring those balances agree to what's recorded in Workday. And then once again, analyzing especially those balance sheet accounts to ensure that those balances are appropriate. You may need an allowance on your accounts receivable because it's not collectible. Or you may need to write off some inventory because you're never going to sell it. And thinking through those type of business decisions and how they're reflected on your financials. Next slide, please. So what we have here is our period close time frame. So what I really want to focus on is really day -1. So that's always the day before the new month. So it was for the period of January, it was January 29th. And that's where we're closing the ISD process, the procurement process, payroll, including your payroll accounting adjustments and expenses. So all of those operational transactions. So if you want something recorded, it needs to be approved. And the transaction, whatever it is, should be finalized on that last day of the month. And then as we move through day 1 through day 5, what you really want to focus on is reviewing your financials, looking for activity, reviewing those reports that help you identify open items that you want to get closed out, that type of thing. We're going to go over those in more detail later. And then you can also see as we go through the days, day 2, we're cutting off integrations for journals. Day 3, there's a host of OSP activity with sponsor billing. We're closing assets, we're closing customer accounts. Day 4, we're running depreciation. And then day 5, just as in PeopleSoft, is your last day of close activity. And then as you can see, days 6 through 11, both the health system, OSUP, and us centrally are rolling through our top level adjustments that we make to hitting that final close period on day 13. Next slide, please.
Lisa, before we do, we did have a question about day -1 being is that the last day of the work week or the last day before the new month, including weekends, since Workday is a 24/7 thing?
So I believe, and Patrick, help me out, we have currently slated it as the last workday before the end of the month. So in
That's correct.
In our example, January 29th, although it wasn't the last day of the month, it was the last working day, assuming a Monday through Friday working day. And so if we look at a calendar for February, that day -1 will be February 26th.
Thank you. And the other question was, if we have a PAA that was not put through for approval in day -1, is it okay just to approve? Lori,
I'm sorry, Eileen, you said that super quick. Can you
sorry, yes.
say that again?
So Laura, I think you might need to give us some clarification. If we have a PAA that was not put through for approval in day -1, is it okay just to approve?
Yes, but it will not show up until the next accounting period. Correct, Christina?
That's right. Yep. And one little comment I want to just be specific about for the day -1 payroll accounting work. We do actually have it is a little variable. I think we put day -1 as like a general like idea, but you should check the fiscal calendar, and I'll ping it in the chat. That'll tell you the exact date that payroll closes. And it'll also give you your PAA deadlines because it does change month to month. But Lisa's correct. If you approve PAAs after the deadline, then it's just going to post to the next accounting month.
And Mike asked, so if today being February 1st, is this day 3, or is this with 129 being -1 and today is day 1?
So yes, today is day 1. This assumes business week. So day -1 is working day -1. Day 1 is working day 1. So it's a coincidence that the 1st through the 5th is also day 1 through 5. But then, for example, day 6 is then February 8th.
It's almost like we planned it. So Sarah asks, just confirming, so now ISDs have to submit on the last day of the previous month before we head into the next month to post our IDBs.
Yes, so to post ISDs, they also need to be approved so that anything that you need workflowed, I would post them as soon as possible to give people time to review and approve them as well.
That's it. Thank you.
Just one more addition, Eileen. I see a couple questions, one from Debbie and one from Roger, asking about journal entries for tomorrow or day 2 accounting journals, such as accruals, must be done. To clarify, day 2 is the cutoff for accounting adjustments, which are done on paid supplier invoices or expense reports, where you can change the accounting on the operational transaction itself. Journal entries you see is called out on day 5, just to clarify those 2 questions.
Which for this week, that would be this Friday, just because we have to be following the exact day. Yep.
All right, so no more questions. I'll turn it over to Jen and Christina.
Thanks, Lisa. Let me see about sharing my screen. All right, can you guys see this screen with Find Journals OSU?
Yep, you're good, Jen.
Okay. So we're going to take a look at, so this is out on the controller's website for the financial reconciliation analysis requirements. So right now we are looking at the exception reporting, and the first bullet point here for created or unapproved journal entries or transfers. So I wanted to kind of take the time to show you some tips and tricks for this report and just kind of what you can utilize to kind of help you with the analysis and look through to make sure that it is very important to look at any of the created or in progress journals or transfers, especially for business day 5, which happens to be this Friday, to ensure that they're either in approved status or that you are denying or sending them back, to just make sure for posting and closing for this month of January. So let me walk through the steps. Give you an example here. So what is nice here, if you wanted to, you'll see that there were the squares that you can go ahead and select multi-select here. But there are also the options if you were looking and you see the circle, the radio button, that is not multi-select. So just a pointer there. And then what I would suggest to do is created in progress, to look at those, and then your journal source. You would be looking at cost center journal and funds transfer journals. You can also look at originated by, if say you were at a college and you were looking for specifically one of the cost centers and just looking for any of their entries. And you can also look at different work tags if needed, but I'm just going to run this wide open for today's purpose to show you what we have. So right now, and this is a test environment, we have 170 items. So we have them in created or in progress. And what you'll see here, I've heard a lot where people are saying, oh, this report is really large. I have to scroll over to the right. I can't see everything. What is helpful, if you go here to the second to last item, if you click to view or edit grid preferences, you are able to drag anything into this gray area if you want to freeze the pane over to the left. And you also can go ahead and customize to drag anything else. For instance, memo is all the way over to the right. So if you wanted to see a snapshot and just have a quick view, I would suggest to move memo, whoops, up a little bit and apply the change. And this change is only for your view. And unless you make the change again, anytime that you go back in to find Journals OSU, you'll be able to have the same structure if you've moved memo until you make a change again. And what you can do also, let me show you the freeze panes as well. So you'll see here that this line is a little bit darker, and that is showing you that it is frozen. So if you do need to see more information and scroll over to the right, you'll have that as an option. And then also, if you wanted to look at more details, what you can also do, since I ran this wide open, you can also click on the header and select here. You can sort ascending, you can sort descending, you can also filter and look for anyone specifically that you were looking for, say someone, for instance, let's see. I'm going to look at something for Peggy. And she has several in progress. And I wanted to take a look and see, okay, what do we need to look at? What's going on with these, that they're in progress, they've been submitted. I want to look at more details. So you can click the related actions here next to the magnifying glass. And what I like to do is right click and see a new tab. So then that way you still have this to reference and you're seeing it in a new tab to see the details of what's going on with this transaction. So with this journal, you can see all of the details and you can also see the process history here. And if I were one of the approvers that it's awaiting action for, I can go ahead and click here. And it'll take me to the review step. Potentially, maybe not. It'll take me to the review step. Hold on. And you'll be able to also approve it. I'm not sure why it's not working right
Maybe because you're
now.
not the approver, Jen. Do you think that's what it
Probably,
is?
since
Yeah.
this is the test environment. But if I were one of those individuals, I would be able to click into it to review and either approve or deny, send back any of those details there. Let's see, what else did I want to kind of show you?
Before you go on to something else, Jen,
Yeah.
could you
Are there a
show,
lot of
got a
questions?
lot of questions about the freeze and unfreezing. Could you show
Okay. Yeah.
slowly again how we do that?
Yep. So if you want to reset, there you go. And if you wanted to, so right now I am filtered on Peggy. So let me get out of here to show you guys. I'll start over. I'm sorry if I was clicking too fast for you. So right here, this is back to the original state. And if you see how this is a little bit gray right here, you would want to just drag this up and you can drag other things to the very top. You hit apply. And then you'll notice that this line is a little bit darker. And then that is freezing the pane right there for you. And then to unfreeze it, just go ahead and reset. And then you'll also see in the columns, if I hover over right onto the lines, you can expand it. So for instance, if you were looking at memo and you wanted to see more, you can go ahead and drag this out a little bit too. Eileen, were there other questions in regards to some of the steps?
The other question about freezing was about whether the top bar could be frozen.
The top bar here?
I believe so.
Yep, this is already frozen, so you'll be able to see all of the headers. It's just more of the scrolling from right to left that, especially in the Find Journal lines, that functionality is also available for you. So it just helps with if you needed certain items that you just wanted to look for. So you also, if you'll see here, the check marks, if there's something that doesn't seem like operational transaction by journal, if you didn't want to see that, you can uncheck it and hit apply, and you're hiding that column.
So that addresses someone's question about if you could remove some columns from your view.
Yep.
Pam, if that did not answer your question about freezing the top panel, I wanted to make sure that we addressed it. Just let us know if that wasn't it. The other question that we're getting from several different people is about at what level we can run this. Now, we've chosen to run this pretty deep down, specifically to show you that kind of a very departmental view, but we asked, can you run it at CCH 6, for example? What can we do the cost center hierarchy in general?
Yeah, I don't think, Patrick, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we can do this at CCH 6, but you can specify at cost center level. The problem with this is because you're looking at created and in progress, right? So with that, you might not have all of the details to pull in. So if you
That's
wanted
correct, Jen.
to, you can filter and add in work tags for CC. Sorry, chemistry, I'm picking on you. But you can go ahead and enter your cost center and you can filter that way. But you also could look by originated by whoever is on your team. And if you want to just sort that way and run it wide open, I like just seeing everything so I don't miss anything, but that's by preference. Eileen, were there any other questions? I can't really see the screen.
Sorry,
There's another.
chat windows. I couldn't get taller.
Yeah, no, yeah. I see blinking.
There
I
are
just
lots
don't
of
know what's
questions,
going on.
but I'm working my way through them.
Sure.
There's one question that's unique to the rest from Jim. How do we document that we ran these reports and conducted our analysis to prove to internal audit that we met our requirements? That might be a question that either we take as a parking lot item or we present to Lisa for discussion on that one in terms of audit requirement.
Yeah, that's a good question. We'll have to take that back.
Hi, I can jump in here. So it depends on the nature of the report. So Find Journals that we're showing, the goal is to, because Workday will not permit any journals to be open when we close the period. Whatever you guys don't go in and close, we will centrally, just so we can close the period. So from that perspective, there's no need to document that you took action or that type of stuff. It will handle everything in the course of business. But for what you are reviewing, what we're recommending is that you develop a standard process just based on how your college operates and and either initial those documents or sign off on them and save them to a shared folder in your college, or you can utilize DocuSign if you like to demonstrate those approvals, that type of thing. So we're not dictating the documentation process as long as you have a standard process for demonstrating that you have reviewed and signed off on things.
Thanks, Lisa.
One more question in the chat, I think, before we have to probably move on for our agenda is
Yeah.
from Sarah. By closing journals, do you mean they are canceled or not processed? And also, when will they be closed? So that 5th business day is that key point. When, if there are any journals that are not approved on the afternoon of the 5th business day, those journals will, they could be canceled, or the controller's office can push them to the following month. So that'll happen in the afternoon of day 5.
There
Same
are-
answer for Justin in the question. Sorry, Jen.
Yeah, no.
That they would be canceled or pushed to the next month. They will not be automatically approved or posted, just to clarify that question from Justin. Thank you.
So just thinking about the time and all the information that we do have, I'll go ahead and stop sharing. If there are specific questions, I'll take a look at the chat, but we also do have the office hours this week. Thank you. Christina, I think you're up next.
Yep. Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah, before we transition to Christina, there was one more question that I wanted to make sure and tackle. A question from Kevin about the time of the afternoon on day 5. Lisa, I don't know if that had been communicated yet, if you want to answer that one in terms of when we'll be closing the ability to approve journals on the 5th business day. If not, we can take it away.
Yeah, we can take it away and maybe add times to the period close calendar. But I would assume end of business on any given day. So 5 p.m.
Thank
unless
you.
otherwise.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. I just wanted to get that before Christina started. Go ahead, Christina. Sorry to interrupt you there.
Oh, no, you're fine. Okay, so one other report we wanted to show you today, we've talked about the payroll funding reports on multiple other sessions, and those are the reports you want to run to make sure that people have costing, and that's kind of a different set of reports. But this is a new report we haven't shown you, and it's called the Payroll Accounting Adjustment Status Report. What this report lets you do is it lets you audit and see where your PAAs are, your payroll accounting adjustments are in the approval process. Is there anything still in flight as we approach month end? This may be something that you might want to look at because you might be trying to close out a grant or do some other activities to like settle up on your accounts, and you want to make sure that things that were initiated earlier in the month are being posted. In PeopleSoft, we didn't have a lot of visibility into this process, right? Because we'd submit an HRA and then HR would take it and we'd hope that they'd get it done. Now you can actually report on where things are sitting for your area. So there's a lot of little different options that you can use here, but today I'm just going to cover that you may want to run this for transactions that are in progress, so you can see what's in flight. If you wanted to see what was approved, you can of course pick successfully completed, but for today we're just going to look at things in progress. And then you've got these 2 sets of work tag filters. The current expense work tags is basically the work, from where you're moving the expense from, and then the proposed is where you're going to move the expense to. So you can run this report by either set of work tags to filter your results. This report can't be run currently on hierarchy, but what I recommend is if you want to look at something globally, like I think Rachel Lawton was asking about how you could run something globally at the CCH level, I would recommend balancing units, cost centers where you would want to, or not cost centers, but for areas where you want to maybe see all of engineering, you could use the balancing unit in the interim of a CCH hierarchy. But for today, oops, I am going to actually, run this open-ended because I just want to see what's in progress for the whole university, and then we can come back and I can show you how to filter it on a work tag. And what we can see here is you've got 14 items across the university in progress as of today. You've got your employees' information, their ID, and their name.number, the position that's primary, and all of their positions. If they've got more than one, they'll be listed here. You've got your payroll accounting adjustment link that you can always right click and open and transact on if you wanted to. So if you were the approver, you could actually click on this and see the actual business process itself sitting in here, and you can see the current journal line. So this is a January 3rd through the 16th, moving $66 off of here and expensing it down here to the grad school. Additionally, you can see the current expense work tags. And basically what this does is it takes all the work tags from and puts them all in here. And then this is all the work tags from the to. So it's not a grade. It doesn't give you percentages or things like that. Hopefully someday it will. Today it doesn't. It's kind of just a generic informational report so you can see some basic information. And then you can see some additional items like what pay period you're adjusting, what pay result is tied to this payroll accounting adjustment, the amount, the status, who's sitting on it or who's got it in their work list right now to kind of complete and get posted, and then what that person's role is. So in this case, this first one, we are waiting on one of these three finance individuals as the cost center manager to approve it. And then when it was assigned to these individuals, how long it's been assigned, the original date of initiation, and the total days that this PAA has been in progress. And these are obviously very young, but over time, things could, once you have like maybe you can identify a PI has been sitting on something for 3 weeks and now, you know, the grant's going to close in 2 more weeks, you may want to use this to kind of help move things along. Once they complete, then you'll have the completion date and how long it took to complete, just so that you can see your own internal metrics of how things are looking. And then some additional grant information listed out here. In case there was something you wanted to report on grants, you can kind of do some quick grant reporting. It's been isolated here instead of putting it all in these work tag buckets over here. So then this would be for the like without anything, but what you could do here, and this is the balancing unit that I was recommending, you could do BL engineering. And this is probably something you would run higher up. You wouldn't probably run this as a cost center manager, but if you were an SFO or finance director, you may want to look at your results like this. And then it returns everything that rolls up to the balancing unit of engineering. And you can see stuff in cost center 11835 or stuff in cost center 11823. And alternatively, if you didn't want to go so high up because you are a cost center manager and that's, you don't need to see the detail for the whole college, you can put your cost center here and run the report the same way. While we're waiting for this, are there any questions on this?
There's a question about the security access needed to view this
Sure.
report, Christina.
Yep.
There are two that I believe. What security roles needed to see the payroll accounting adjustments report?
Yep, we have a security role called Payroll Accounting Adjustments Analyst. Most of our finance team members would have that role inherently provided to them because of your finance roles, but it's called Payroll Accounting Adjustments Analyst. And here's the report when I ran it just for this cost center. You know, we had 5 in engineering. We only have 3 sitting in this cost center. So if you were wanting to make sure something that you sent out is going to get taken off, you can use your current. If you are the receiving department, you can use something on that. You would use the proposed work to make sure that you're getting the expense that you're expected to see. Well, in most cases, I would envision running it here. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Christine. Another question came in is what happens if a PAA is not approved on time? I assume that question means before close happens. What happens to these payroll accounting adjustments?
Yep, and just like it'll actually post to the next accounting period once it gets approved. So the approval is, and at the same time that the PAA gets approved, the fringe benefits also get expensed out. As soon as you hit approve, the fringe benefits get calculated and expensed. So this isn't going to stop close for any reason. Like the other report that Jen showed, you have to clear those out in order to continue on with close. This may be a best practice that your stuff looks clean by the end of the month and you don't end up having to maybe eat a cost that you weren't wanting to eat or something like
I have another question for you, Christina. The question is there guidance on when payroll accounting adjustments need to be entered in order to have them approved by OSP by the month-end deadline?
I haven't seen their official calendar, like, 2 weeks prior to month end. But I'll take that back and ask that question for you. I think that's a good question.
I'm
The
sorry.
one big change that I want, oh, sorry.
Another question was, may or may not belong right in this particular moment, but for individuals paid on sponsored grants, will vacation hours always hit the default org?
They will, yes. Unless you wanted to charge, and then you would need to process a payroll accounting adjustment to request that payout be funded from the Office of Sponsored Programs. And in the payroll accounting adjustments job aid on the ARC, we actually call out the work tag combination that you would use to request that payout from OSP. And I can ping that in the chat when I'm done here.
Thank you.
The other-
I'm sorry. You can finish your thought.
The only other thing I wanted to just bring up that why this is kind of going to take a little more importance is that PIs are physically in this process. Now, in the past, PIs didn't necessarily have to approve by clicking a button. They would just tell someone and that person would enter the HRA and maybe have like an email. PIs actually have to approve PAAs when you use an Office of Sponsored Programs grant. So having this report kind of helps you see if maybe a PI may be sitting on something longer. They probably want to approve it too. They're just learning. So it helps you kind of work with them as well to manage that approval is happening timely.
I just wanted to come back to Betsy Lindsay. I'm not certain what your question was referring to. So if you could pose it again with a little more description, I'll make sure to ask it for you. All right, go ahead, Christina. We'll come back.
Okay, that's kind of the report in general. It's short and sweet, and it's intended to just help you make your business decisions for month end so you don't have a lot of things sitting there. So if there's no other questions, I may hand it off.
Very good. And if we have time at the end, we'll come back to things that we were not able to address, but let's get on to Patrick.
Right, very good. Can someone confirm you can see my screen, the Workday page?
We can.
Yes.
Excellent. All right, so we're moving into categories 2 and 3 that Lisa opened us up with. We just talked a little bit about exception reporting. We're now going to move into the section of financial analysis. So within financial analysis, again, to kind of highlight what Lisa mentioned at the top, is there are many different reports designed in Workday, whether you're in a college or unit on the campus side, whether you're here as a part of the health plan, physicians, or health system. So this is a very small list of those. The health plan, OSUP, and health system have a variety of different reports, but we realize that most of our cost center managers here today are within the campus realm. So we're going to focus on the sources and uses for our demo today, but just know that there are many other reports that should help you jump into financial analysis inside of Workday. So I'm in as Doris. You get to be our celebrity presenter today, Doris, in the Sandbox tenant. Just a couple of things as I navigate. The sources and uses variance analysis report is the one we're going to look at today. We are trying to point a lot of folks to using that as an entry point to analyze what the month or year looks like for your unit and start to do analysis in terms of how is my spend according to the plan? How is my spend compared to the last 5 months maybe? How do my revenue numbers look? Does everything look like it's posted? This type of report is a good entry point. There are other ways to dive into more detail that I'll try to hit in our short time together today, and will be available for office hours from 10 to 12, Tuesday through Friday this week as well. So you've noticed I've typed in sources and uses. I've not hit enter. All I've done is type in those keywords, and it brings me back a lot of reporting options. Some folks enter in the words and they hit enter immediately. I think I would give you advice, just wait, see what's returned naturally, sort of in a Google search format here. I can select my report, or I can simply hit enter. When I hit enter, it's going to return a search result, kind of like an internet search. Many people may be tripping on this as well. The default search is common. I don't like that. I like to go to all of Workday, and it brings back more choices. If you want to update your preferences, I would recommend that you do that. If you go into your cloud over here, so again, I'm pretending to be Doris in the test environment. Under my account, you go to change preferences, and your preferred search category can be updated. I would recommend that. A lot of people get lost and they can't find what they're looking for. So I would recommend doing that. So once you're in your preferences, you can change the preferred search category. And I type in all and hit enter. And I would like to search by all of Workday every time I do a search in the search box. So I thought I would hit that. We've had that question come up a lot, or we've had that stumbling block come up a lot. So I wanted to share that tip. Okay, so back now to sources and uses. Again, I've got the words up. I'm going to go into my variance analysis. A couple questions littered throughout the day about, can I save my prompts? Can I save my criteria, my searching? I have done that for today using saved filters. You can populate your information and then click save. Today I've done that. I'm using a filter that I've created. We're going to look at optometry cost center hierarchy 6 for the month of January. And we're going to be looking at the current period year-to-date total. And we're going to be pulling in the 2021 university operating plan. Go ahead and run that. Many of you have been to these sessions in the previous couple of years. And so some of this may be old news for some of you, but a couple more tips and tricks. You can always expand and collapse this little button right here that shows you what criteria did you use in your search. Sometimes that's helpful if you forget what you ran your report on. I like that. And then kind of the fun part down here is in the table. I'll show you how you can navigate this and the type of variance analysis or financial analysis that we are really advocating for the units to use, rather than what Lisa called out at the beginning, is that line by line transaction verification. That is no longer a priority. What we want you to focus on is the more financial analysis and reconciliation. So what I'm doing is clicking down through the uses, and you can start to see presented sort of financial statement for this hierarchy of optometry. As I'm browsing down through, I'll take notice of the actual numbers in my actual column. Certainly I'll take notice of my plan numbers, the variance. You even have a prior year column here for reference compared to what you're looking at. So good things to look at is, what's my salary number versus prior year? What are my benefits versus last year? So you can quickly eyeball and do some analysis to help you pivot into what's of concern to you. So my example today, I'm going to go into salaries. And a good trick here is that I would hardly ever recommend you just click on the number, even though it's enticing to do so. What you want to do is say, how do you want to view this $6 million number? By clicking on the small arrow next to the 6 million, you select your view or pivot point. View by what? How do you want to see this? And I think a good starting point is typically going to be your ledger account. Ledger account gives you a good breakdown of my salaries. So you can see, okay, what did I have in 12-month faculty? What did I have in supplemental pay? What did I have in overtime? And then another view, you can always view by 2 dimensions. So it's sort of like a 2-dimensional pivot table with real-time data here. So I'm going to do not only by ledger account, but I want to break it by period, which is your month. So I think if I was going to give anyone quick advice, it would be to view by ledger account by period. And you can kind of see some quick insights here, which I like. So you can see your kind of trailing number here of year to date, meaning year to date 21, so the first 7 months. And you can see, this ledger account, 318, 323, 328, 326. You'd be able to hopefully quickly identify where things are popping out to you. If there was something popping out to you, again, maybe January looks really high or looks really low and you want to investigate, again, I would recommend using the little drop down view by arrow. And then in here, you have the ability to view by employee. I'm not going to do that for this session, but I'm going to do by position. So of this 323,000 that's hitting the 12-month regular faculty base pay, I want to see that broken out by position. And going forward, as we're in Workday, you'll be able to do a month by month. Did we perhaps have more expense in a certain position area? And then you can continue to click and click and click through here to get to more and more detail. But that's just sort of a quick example of what I might use. I'm just going to check in on the chat here. Eileen or anyone else, did we have any specific questions so far on this?
So I think that one of the questions that we had was whether or not all your plan numbers should be 0. Is that what it's supposed to look like?
All of your plan numbers should not be 0. It depends on how you did your search. You can see in my search for optometry, there has been a plan loaded for FY21. So you can see they are scattered about in terms of how the plan was entered from Buckeye Plan. If there are more detailed questions about plan, I know Kristen's chimed in and said that plan was loaded at the unit level. If there are more detailed questions about plan, we would probably have to take those offline. But yeah, they have been loaded at the unit level at this point.
I know we've had a lot of questions about what happens to those unapproved journals at the end of the month, which it is kind of harking back to our previous discussion, but I'm going to go on to a couple of the other questions about this specific report. So I just wanted everyone to know we're not ignoring those questions. We will get a statement out to you on exactly what all of that expectation should be. Is it possible to filter by employee name? I only see employee ID.
Christina, I believe it is possible to go by employee
I
name.
believe worker is what we call, I know it's kind of confusing because sometimes they call them employees, but can you, yep, there's worker. And the other thing I really like about this one is you can also see like pay component. So if you wanted to see like, show me all the overtime I paid, you could just go at the salaries level and then you could click on pay component, Patrick, if you don't mind, we're going a little off.
No, that's perfect. Yep. It's a good
And then
drill
here-
for salaries.
Yeah, and then you can kind of see like, hey, this is what your salary breakdown for the month was. You can kind of look at this as well to kind of see, you know, hey, I got more bonuses or I have overtime or payout, things like that.
And here's another question, just as we're kind of working through what people are going to be doing with these different kinds of reports. Megan wrote to say she understands that the focus is no longer on line-by-line transaction verification. But is there still an option to run that kind of overall report for all categories? As an affiliate of OSU, they're used to running the detail activity report on their org on a quarterly and annual basis. What would your recommendation be?
Yeah, for a detailed transaction report, Find Journal Lines OSU is going to be the go-to of the most granular level to see each and every journal line, depending on source of the transactions, whether they're cost center journals, whether they're supplier invoices that got posted. Find Journal Lines OSU is the most granular level.
Would a worker by period be the replacement for the HRB 140?
It basically does. So the HRB 140 was created because you couldn't drill into payroll detail in the GL. So in that respect, this is the way that you drill into the detail. So yes, you could definitely use this report to get the same things that you got from the HRB 140. But if you needed to pivot on multiple dimensions at once, then we would recommend that you use the Find Journal Lines OSU payroll detail report. So there's an OSU report and that doesn't have payroll detail, and there's a payroll detail version. But this is really where we want you to start. Hopefully you can do your analysis of what's going on in your department from sources and uses.
And our deck will have all the names of all these reports in it when we send this out to you too. I know you have one more to show us, Patrick, so I think we'll move on right now and see if there's any time left.
Yep, sounds good. Thanks, Eileen. Thanks, Christina. So pivoting over to the reconciliation section of the session today, we wanted to highlight the University Balancing Unit balance sheet. So balancing unit, as many of you have come to learn, is a pretty key work tag that helps you to create a completely balancing balance sheet at sort of like a higher organizational level at the college perhaps, or your unit, or maybe a balancing unit hierarchy would bring together several balancing units within one unit. So my option, or my example for today, is using optometry balancing unit hierarchy 6, similar to what I did for the sources and uses report. I've used a saved filter for this one as well, but I've populated everything. So again, what I'm looking at is the ending balance as of January FY21. And you can see, again, this is a summarized view to give you what a balance sheet would look like. I know some units might use the balance sheet more than others, so this might not be relevant to every single person on the call. But again, the health plan, health system, and physicians have their own balance sheets created. A lot of the same functionality in terms of how you navigate and pivot. A good example that Lisa talked about at the top, reconciling workday balances against your source system. So for the optometry clinics, obviously they have an outside AR system that they would be reconciling against. So what I would be recreating here is, oh, I see my 12015 AR external systems account has $267,000 balance. How is that broken by balancing unit? I can see that quickly here. So this would be one of those key entry points. You know, this isn't the only way you could do it, but this is one of the best kind of top level looks. There's also a general ledger balance report that I wanted to show and compare to you that you may be using a little bit. I'll continue that example on the AR account 12015 for balancing unit hierarchy 6 of optometry and run that. And you'll be able to see my output's a little bit different. It might be a little bit more targeted on what I just showed you on the last screen. So you can see my ending balance, that should look familiar. That's what I just showed you on the balance sheet report. But this is a sort of breakout on the face of the report by each of the balancing unit, fund, and revenue category combinations. So it helps you to slice and dice more. Further than that, I would even show you all journal lines to the month of January for optometry for the 12015. You can see there's 218 lines here, and you could see individual transactions that were happening. So there, you know, a lot of learning here is that there's multiple ways to approach an inquiry in Workday. I would say for this reconciliation example, this balance sheet is high level for your unit. General ledger balance can be a little more granular, a little more targeted, still gives you the ability to drill. And then the most granular of options would be fine journal lines that we talked a little bit about earlier, that if you really want to piece and parse through 218 lines, you can do that. You can update your preferences here again, as Jen showed you great earlier. You can export to Excel using the little Excel icon. We're at 12:23 though, so I rushed a little bit on that. Let me see if we have any big questions that we need to answer.
One of the questions was to show again, to talk through those details at the top that you chose as your filters. So I think that
on which report?
Scroll up, yeah, this one.
Yeah, so on this one, I chose to look at journal lines under one specific ledger account that I'm investigating, which in this case is the 12015. And then I wanted to look at it for everything underneath the balancing unit hierarchy 6 of optometry. I may also select an individual balancing unit. If the Upper Arlington Clinic was of particular interest, I would enter that balancing unit specifically and narrow my search. It's all about how you want to narrow your filtering as to what data you want to be returned. So those are a little bit of the details of this particular report.
Okay. We've had a number of comments on how helpful that was. I do want to go back just briefly to talking about the financial plans, because we've had a number of messages go back and forth about being able to see the financial plans specifically. So I wouldn't be able to see financial plans for our entire cost center. That's how I just ran my report, and it's showing all my plan numbers as 0.
Yeah, I think we might have to take that offline. Kristini and if Scott Clutie's on the call, neither of them are able to use their voice.
I
So
could
we might
fix
have to
that for
parking lot
Christine.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, with 5 minutes, it might
might
be
not
bigger
be.
than that.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
I
might want
think
to
we may
table that, and
need.
then I would offer that as a topic in the office hours that we are advertising as well, potentially, where we maybe have a side discussion about what is available and what is not available in Workday right now.
Yes. That's a
So
good point. That would definitely, a lot of folks who had questions about very specifically like what's showing up in their report, um, what the best filters were to use, how to manipulate this for review, the office hours should be very helpful to you. Is there a reference worksheet for this report name, or I used to run this report and now I need to run this report in Workday? And the answer to that question is yes, it is. And I will post that in the chat as well as make sure we include it in our summary.
there's also a question about on the Find Journal Lines OSU payroll detail, where do I go to get activity pay? I think that was from Allison Horrocks.
It will be there. You can probably filter by some of the work tags. Let's talk, Allison, to see what maybe isn't showing up for you. I can give you a call after this meeting. And then we did have another one, Patrick, which I think is nice. Will we be able to view uses versus plan for, oh, this is uses versus plan for specific grant categories. Sorry, you can drill in to uses by grants. I'm not sure about the plan, so we might have to get back to you on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Everyone wants to know about the office hours, so here's
Good
the
segue. Yeah. So Eileen, you can help here a little bit. I think we have scheduled for them for the next 4 days from 10 a.m. to noon. Our focus, of course, is similar content, helping you get through this close, helping you figure out what report you might want to navigate to, or if you're having issues navigating through reports. We want to try to be there as best we can to support those questions. We know there's a lot of new information. We're hopeful that sessions like this and sessions like the office hours this week will help you in a big way, kind of get through the first big push here for close. So I don't know if we need to give more detail on how to join or how to get the invites out to everybody, or the
I
links.
was only going to state that, we'll put out the summary this afternoon with this link in it. You'll need to mark your own calendars, but it will have the link. The link is the same every single day. So you could join us every single day if you wanted to, but there's nothing magic about it being one way on tomorrow and another way on Friday. So the link is the same regardless. And we did have a question about whether the discussion answers from the office hours will be distributed. We'll do our best to capture some of the frequently asked questions and post those in the Administrative Resource Center. And we've had a lot of suggestions about what would be useful in terms of job aids and so on. I don't know that we will have broad themes that will work real well for distribution to everybody, but we can try and we'll see, what else there is for follow-up.
Yeah, one more question about during the review time after 5th business day, will data that we have possibly change before final reporting? So largely the answer to that is the data won't be changing at the unit level, with the exception potentially of the lift out entities. That data possibly could be being updated via the central adjustments that are being posted, but largely at a unit by unit campus perspective, the 5th day is going to be the end of the road. Allocations is sort of the last thing that posts. The overhead allocations, cost of sales overhead allocations, but yeah, pretty much day 5 is the end. Thanks, Roger.
Okay, we are out of time. Holly, did you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, yep. First of all, I want to thank everyone for attending. We have, so you can see by the numbers, over 350 participants on this. So thank you so much. Thank you for your questions. We definitely have time this week, these office hours, to work through more of these questions. And like Eileen said, we will get back on those questions, particularly around day 5 and journal entries and what that process will be. and get that period close timeline calendar updated a little bit further too, to make sure we note anything in terms of actual times on there. So we will get those back out, and then of course have the office hours and continue to work on this. I know it's a lot, but we'll get through it together. So thank you everybody for attending, and thank you to all our presenters and Eileen for facilitating. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.